What have you always wanted to know about Boise State Public Radio? Join us for another round Wednesday, March 19th at Mad Swede Brew Hall in downtown Boise from 6 to 8 p.m. Learn more about our operations, news content, and our service mission. We welcome your questions and look forward to sharing more about what we do here at Boise State Public Radio. More details can be found on our website at boisestatepublicradio.org.
Happy Wednesday. This is The Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Troy Abbey. This morning, chaplains could be coming to Idaho schools. Ada County having to shell out thousands of dollars to bring in temporary pathologists from out of state to help catch up on a backlog of autopsies. Local faith leaders weigh in on legislation dealing with homelessness. And the State Utilities Commission is prepared to evaluate a large rate increase from water provider Veolia. Those stories and more right now on The Connector. We'll start at the State House this morning, where a bill that would cut candy and soda from the list of acceptable items for federal food benefits is one step away from the governor's desk. Here's James Dawson with more.
Retailers, soda bottlers, and grocers oppose the bill, saying it would be too complicated to implement. They've also said it goes against Idaho's commitment to individual freedoms. Republican Senator Brian Lenny says he's not buying that argument.
I see lobbyists who represent big corporations coming in here trying to protect profits for their clients, which is their job, but that's not my job, so I'm going to be a yes on this.
Republican Senator Glenita Zeiderveld supports the concept, but says it won't solve the problem. Instead, she offered a solution from her, quote, perfect world.
And it's biblical. If you don't work, you don't eat. That will fix our obesity problem right there. Not to mention it'll help our workforce problem.
The bill now goes to the Senate. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
For the third straight year, Republican lawmakers want to allow county commissioners to decide if Idaho hospitals should be exempt from paying property taxes. Hospitals say such a change would create uncertainty across the state because health systems like St. Luke's or St. Alphonsus manage hospitals across multiple counties. Bill sponsor, GOP Representative Josh Tanner, says it should still be up to counties to decide.
Is to put the county commissioners in the same room as the hospitals and to sit down and negotiate what that give back to our community actually looks like. It shouldn't be just up to the hospitals to make that decision. It should be a joint effort of what that community need looks like.
Brian Whitlock of the Idaho Hospitals Association testified his organization conducted a statewide poll just 2 weeks ago. It showed Idahoans don't like the proposal because it would likely trigger higher medical costs.
And we asked them simply, do you support raising taxes on hospitals if it means that the cost of health care will go up? 72% of Republican voters don't want increased taxes because they recognize it will increase the cost of health care.
Senate Government and Tax Committee yesterday decided to send House Bill 130 to the so-called 14th order for possible amendment, which could mean the bill is done for the session. Local faith leaders are weighing in against legislation that forces the state's largest cities to criminalize public camping, specifically sleeping in public places that aren't campsites or highway rest areas, and a bill restricting new shelter facilities from being built within 300 feet of residential property. An open letter to lawmakers signed by over a dozen local multi-denominational faith leaders, many who represent congregations that were involved in the creation of Interfaith Sanctuary years ago, urges opposition to the two bills. Religious leaders fear they won't be able to serve needy populations in their worship facilities if the 300-foot restriction passes. And they say criminalizing homelessness makes the problem worse instead of solving it. The anti-camping bill passed the state Senate this week and would next be heard in the House State Affairs Committee. The 300-foot bill is awaiting a public hearing in the Senate Local Government and Taxation Committee. More from our James Dawson now, as a House committee yesterday signed off on a bill that would allow school districts in Idaho to hire chaplains.
Under the bill, chaplains could be paid or volunteers. School districts could also limit who these religious figures could counsel to exclude students, for example. Hans Snyder, the founder of Satanic Idaho, says he welcomes the legislation.
Many fellow Satanists and I are eager to introduce satanic values into schools, serving as chaplains throughout Idaho. These values include empathy, compassion, respect, justice, plurality, and equality.
But Quinn Perry, the lobbyist for the Idaho School Boards Association, says this proposal would cause chaos within school districts.
Asking school boards or their administration to be in a position to pick and choose which religion the chaplain is serving from will undoubtedly create community issues and divides.
Others who voted against the bill said it could violate recent laws passed by legislators forcing districts to publicly post any curriculum related to social and emotional learning. The measure generally passed along party lines and now heads to the House floor. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
And finally, in our State House roundup this morning, legislation which would protect journalists from being legally compelled to reveal sources or other unpublished information gathered in the course of reporting has passed both chambers unanimously and now heads to the governor's desk. House Bill 158 is supported by the Idaho Press Club, of which journalists and staff here at Boise State Public Radio are members. State Utilities Commission will host a public information session tomorrow for details and public feedback on a rate increase proposed by water utility Veolia. The utility is asking for a more than 20% rate increase. That's nearly $7 more a month for the average residential household, an increase of nearly $25 a month for the average commercial user. Former customers of the Eagle Water Company, which was sold to Veolia a couple years ago, would see smaller increases due to grandfather clauses in that purchase contract. That $10.5 million purchase in 2022 has been cited by Veolia as one reason it needs to raise rates. Last year, the company says it spent more than $70 million on system improvements. The Public Utilities Commission 2 years ago approved a more than 7% rate increase that was less than a third of what the utility had requested. Tomorrow's information session begins at 6 p.m. It's at the State Public Utility Office on the Chinden campus. Teleconference options are also available. You can visit puc.idaho.gov for more information. Ada County is home to the only public forensic pathologist team in the state. 30 other Idaho counties contract to do their autopsies here. But that team of 3 has been down to 2 for about a year. And in that time, 1 had a paternity leave, leaving just a single pathologist trying to do the work of 3. County Coroner Rich Riffle says more than 36 cases are beyond a 90-day standard period of time to be closed. A couple complex autopsy cases are still open after about a year.
The standards dictate that all cases have to be done within a certain period of time, clearly with some wiggle room. But when you start pushing and getting beyond that, then we take this strikes against us, and it puts our accreditation in jeopardy.
Riffle isn't worried about accreditation at this point. The county has a 3rd full-time pathologist set to start this summer. In the meantime, the County Board of Commissioners had to approve $100,000 for the coroner's office to continue to pay contract pathologists coming in from out of state to pick up some of the slack. It's more expensive than hiring an employee, but Riffle can't use the personnel budget to pay for a contract worker. He also can't find pathologists to hire part-time and says he feels stuck.
Right now, it's just a dog-eat-dog world, and the only comfort that I take in that is that it's nationwide. It's like I'm not the only one. What do you do? You still got to do the job.
Even with the new pathologist coming on this summer, the county probably won't catch up on its backlog until the fall. There's more on why it's hard to hire forensic pathologists and what some officials are doing about it in this story on our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. Thanks for listening to The Connector this morning. I'm Troy Oppie. Our news director is Sasha Woodruff. Our general manager is Tom Michael. Our digital strategy manager is Lacey Daly. We'll catch you again tomorrow.